Sup YouTube, it's Standard TCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get daily Pokemon TCG uploads, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Today we are actually going to be checking out some new decks, and we're going to be ranking them in the tier list maker. So I actually created a tier list maker for Temporal Forces, our next set coming out on the 22nd of March. And the cool thing is that this set will instantly become legal in combination with the rotation for EUIC 2024 over in the beginning of April. So that weekend, the first weekend of April, is going to be fantastic. We're going to be playing in that new format with some new decks and new cards legal, which is very fantastic. This is going to be a tier list purely based on Japanese results and my own opinion. So if you disagree, let me know in the comments below how you would flip-flop some decks here and there. Which decks will you put higher on the tier list, which decks will you put lower on the tier list, and which decks that I'm actually forgetting. So there's going to be a lot of decks we're going to be talking about. If you don't know what these archetypes do just yet, don't worry, I'll be making separate videos about all the new decks very shortly, so you have a little bit of more of an understanding of how these decks will actually work. And as soon as the set is live on TCG Live, we're going to be playing all these new decks as well. And the good news is also this weekend there's going to be a big City League? No, it's not a City League, it's the Champions League over in Japan with a lot of players and this exact new format, so it's going to be very interesting to see those results indeed. With that being said, also go check out my sponsors for today's video, dragonshield.com for your sleeves, binders, and deck boxes. You can use the coupon ZAPDOS5 on everything on the website, so definitely do so to stock up on some Dragon Shield product. There is europlaymat.com to create your own custom playmat from scratch. There's a link down below allowing you to get 10% off right now to create your own custom playmat. There's also PokemonStore.com for your TCG live needs. They have code cards, so you can use the coupon ZAPDOSTCG for 5% off. And there's also cardmarket.com to go the extra mile if you're a European player to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe using the referral name ZAPDOSTCG. With that being said, let's dive into this video. So as a little disclaimer, as mentioned, this is my own opinion mixed with Japanese results, so your opinion could be totally different. With that being said, let's talk about the new decks, because I'm really hyped for Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces will contain a lot of new archetypes and possibilities, also bringing A-Spec cards into fruition with Maximum Belt thrown up in there, with Prime Catcher thrown up in there. So these A-Spec cards are one-off cards that you can select, just like a Radiant card in your deck. You can only have one-off. So you have to be very specific on which card you want. You can have 100 additional HP as an A-Spec card. You can have double cross switches into one item card in the Prime Catcher form. You can have Master Ball searching out any card from your any Pokemon from your deck. You can also have the Maximum Belt to slap 50 additional HP damage to EX Pokemon. So lots of ace packs available, and we're gonna be checking out some decks right now. So the first new deck on the block that I want to be talking about is Great Tusk. I'll be putting it currently in the B category. You might think that's really high for a mill archetype. Well, if you don't know what Great Tusk does, it actually allows you, if you played an Ancient Supporter from your hand during your turn, you can discard the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. And that's actually kind of insane. Discarding the top 4 card of your opponent's deck is very nutty. If you want to see here what all the new cards actually do, you can check out the justinbasil.com to be checking out some proxies of these specific Pokemon, but it actually is pretty crazy. So you discard the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you played an Ancient Supporter card from your hand during this turn, you actually discard 3 more cards. Actually, you want to be discarding 4 cards every single turn. That's what you want to be doing here. Every single turn, you go second with the deck, and then mill 4, mill 4, mill 4. Get 100 additional HP with the Ace-Pack card, and just make sure the opponent decks out. The Great Tusk also comes back with 140 HP. So with that new Ace-Pack card, you can turn that into 240 HP, which is kind of monstrous. Also, Ancient Energy Boost Capsule could help because you are an ancient Pokemon. So it's an aggressive mill deck. Just look at the days of the things like Chinchino with Belalba and Bryson, man. The milling 4 every single turn is just so crazy. You can use Counter Catcher to trap opponent's Pokemon to wait for a turn here and there to make them trap, and you can mill further. Lots of strategy available. This is actually a tier B deck for me personally, because people can of course know how to play around this. And another card I want to be putting some highlight on when talking about the Great Tusk deck is actually the Hand Trimmer. This is actually a very great card. Each player discards cards until they have 5 cards in their hand. So your opponent discards first. So the cool thing with that is that the opponent can now no longer say, I'm not going to be playing anything from the deck. I'm just going to be draw and just attack, draw, attack. And at one point they have like 15 cards. You can then trim that down so that actually mills. Otherwise they just spam Iono when they have all these cards in hand. So also a very unique card helping out that milling archetype. Another new archetype is Future Box. Future Box is actually pretty interesting because we do have access to a very great ace pack card in the form of the Reboot Pod. This actually allows you to accelerate a basic energy card through each of your future Pokemon in play. You can also combine that with the power of this Miraidon to accelerate through basic energy cards and attach them to your future Pokemon in any way you like. So if you can get that off, you can fetch that tool card, of course, with something like an Arven. You can have lots of future Pokemon, think about Iron Hands, etc. to, of course, get yourself going. There is also the Iron Crown, allowing you to slap 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that could help out for, of course, this little fellow to actually, if they have 2 of these Iron Crowns out, to slap 80 damage, knocking out something like Charmander, knocking out something like Frigibax, Comfey, while setting up your Pokemon. And there's a lot of future Pokemon out there, but currently, I'd only put it in tier C because you're highly reliant on that ace pack card, which you don't always have. It could be priced, and sometimes you don't even have an Arven in your opening hand. You cannot play Luminion because your field needs to be set up with future Pokemon, but there's what it is. You have the Future Box tier C. Then a solid tier A deck is going to be the one price deck, the one price Ancient Box deck, I would call it here. And this actually revolves around Baby Roaring Moon. It's not that miney as you might think, because I have 140 HP, which is a lot, and it actually slaps 7 damage plus 10 more for every ancient card in your discard pile. It says ancient card, not Pokemon ancient card, so it does say something like Earthen Vessel, which is an ancient card, works. Saw it on your discard pile, works. So in combination with all that, you even have the crazy Awakening Drum ace pack card, drawing a card for every ancient Pokemon in play. Also an ace pack, an ancient card, and also the Explorer's Guidance. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck, put 2 of them in your hand, discard the other cards, having great synergy with, of course, the Vengeful Feather. So if you put like 4 of the Vessel in the discard pile, maybe a couple of Roaring Moon in the discard pile, some Sawdust, some Guidance fellas in the discard pile, you could have monstrous damage output to the mid to late game. Very good indeed. Also able to get that off with like Attachment Sada or just Attachment Dark Patch. So lots of crazy things for this Baby Roaring Moon. You can also work together with this Charizard, also a new card from Temporal Forces, allowing you to actually slap 30 damage for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. So capping out at 180 damage without a downside. And you also don't have a weakness, and that's actually pretty damn good. So you have 2 140 HP basics in your deck. There's also some Flutter Mains in your deck to just low down here to stop opponents' decks from working. As long as it's in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities. If you don't need it, you can put it in the discard pile. If you need it, you can put it in the active position. So it's an ancient card working out as well to shut down the opponent's active ability. So that deck itself has proven itself quite a little bit in Japan and is a tier A deck. Now this is, of course, a tier list prediction, so we don't actually know where things will land up eventually, but this actually will give you an understanding of how these new decks will fare. And the cool thing is with Temporal Forces, there is a lot of new decks on the block, which actually helps out a ton. With that being said, I would put Dialga with Metang. This actually is a deck out there. I wonder where I should be putting it here. Currently, I'll be putting it in tier C. I'm not like that big of a believer. If you don't know what the Metang does, that's why you're here in this video, right? You're going to be learning all about the new cards. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy, metal energies you find there and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So in combination with the already existing Dialga VSTAR and the Star Chronos, you can have a little bit of a strategy going. The problem I see here is that the Metangs have 100 HP. So on the other hand, Level Ball is also rotated. So that is not working out quite well. It's a little bit on the consistency downside. So that's why it's tier C. But it's also a new deck. Then Gardevoir with Raging Bolt. I'd still be putting this in tier B. It's actually a deck. It's very cool, right? Because you can just use the Gardevoir to set up all sorts of attackers onto your field. and then you can use that Raging Bolt to discard those energies. So you can have, as soon as you have Raging Bolt out with a couple of energies, you can discard the energies from the bench, slapping 70 damage for every energy discarded in that way, and then you can reload them back on with Gardevoir EX. Also have a little bit of screen tail action going around the deck, so you have one prizer, and then your 2 prizer becomes the Raging Bolt. So also a new archetype, not not hyper consistent indeed, but it is a new deck out there. There's also a Raging Ball with Sandy Stocks, which I personally think is a little bit weaker. I'll put that in the tier C category for now. In tier D, there's the Torterra, slapping 30 damage for every grass Pokemon you have in play. The problem I have with that deck is that the damage output is a little bit lackluster. It is also a stage 2 deck, so you need like Rare Candy in order to evolve, although you could rely on these Grottles to, of course, get your evolution chain going. But it's not the strongest new deck out there. I think, in hindsight, the strongest new deck is probably going to be the Baby Ancient Box, followed up by Great Tusk. Yeah, that's about it for the new decks out there. Now let's talk about some existing decks out there. I think the Charizard decks out there are very, very strong. The Charizard decks actually become tier S currently. I don't know which version is better. The Charizard Pidgeot is very good in this format, and also with like Path to the Peak rotating, I think Pidgeot will still become a very nice slot. But the more successful build over in Japan seems to be the Charizard Bibarel list out there. There's Buddy Puffin. If you don't know what Buddy Puffin does, it actually is, of course, the new VIP pass, but then for 70 HP Pokemon and less. It also works after your first turn. This helps out a lot of consistency decks out there, so that's why we're putting the Charizard deck. I think the Charizard Bibarel is just inherently so strong because the only thing you need is like Bibarel to get yourself going, to draw your Iono protected, and you have your monstrous Charizard indeed. What else can we just put in tier A is Arceus Giratina. It is back from the death, and the reason for that is that it gains maximum belt. Now Giratina is able to slap 330 with maximum belt, an ace-pack card, allowing you to slap 30 additional damage to your opponent's EX Pokemon here is going to help out this deck a lot. Not only can Arceus now become a very aggressor, it also is able to search out maximum belt. So let's say you start with Arceus Attach Pass, then the opponent does something, then you can evolve into Arceus V-Star, put the maximum belt on, and suddenly Arceus with a DTE and the maximum belt equipped is able to slap 230 damage, enough to knock out Miraidon EX, Chien-Pao EX, Iron Hands EX, Roaring Moon EX, etc. So Arceus Giratina becomes strong. It might think, oh, it loses Path, but it still has Judge and the Pokemon League headquarters as its disruptive plan out there. So I think you don't have to be laughing about Arceus right now because it is a very strong deck if we take a look at the results over in Japan. Another big winner from rotation will become Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao is actually one of those decks that I personally think that is gaining the most from the rotation because it loses almost no cards. It has the Buddy Puffing to help consistency, still has Nuzlocke, still has Bibarel, still has Baxcalibur, still has Iridos. So all the core cards in that deck are still there. And now without Path to the Peak shutting down Chivalry Chill, the deck just got unlocked like through the max. You have a great time against Charizard, have a great time against Arceus decks, and I think this is one of the decks that really will be strong with, of course, the rotation happening in combination with that new stat, Chien-Pao with that Baxcalibur. So I think the 3 most decks that you need to look out for currently is like Chien-Pao, Arceus, Giratina, and then Charizard. I personally think these are going to be the most popular decks out there. Also, another deck that also gains a lot from the... we do see that like there's a lot of decks out there. I'm still currently doubting where to put Lugia. For now, I'll be putting it in the high end of tier B, but Lugia seemingly is back with Chinchino. Chinchino slaps 70 damage for every special energy attached to it, and that's going to be very crazy because with Archeopsis out, you're going to be able to, of course, use that attack for 350 damage if you have like 5 energies attached to that Chinchino, one-shotting anything in existence as a one-price Pokemon. So the opponent really needs to respond to the Chinchino, otherwise they will be slapped with it again. So you could turn Lugia V-Star, you just go for Summoning Star, and then you collapse away your Lugia and you turn yourself into the most ridiculous one-price Chinchino deck out there. So that's why Lugia is back. So Lugia believers out there, good luck. And if you don't believe me, there are some Japanese results backing this up here with my tier list, putting Lugia even at the tier A category. So there is that. I don't know what to do about these other things in the format, because I have checked out a lot of things, a lot of results here from Japan with some top 16 placements, the popularity of decks here and there, and you always see that Charizard is the deck to beat, followed up by Chien-Pao with the popularity wise. Also Gholdengo, I thought it was going to be performing a little bit better than anticipated, definitely with path rotating, but it seems that it is not the biggest performer out there. So back to the tier list here. We have created this currently. So Gholdengo, if we have to take a look at the tier list, I think I'll be putting it in tier B. Currently, Gholdengo, I don't know where it lands in the current tier list, but it actually was second at the last regionals over in Dortmund. So it is already doing great things, but I don't know how it will survive the uprise in the other decks out there. Is the Charizard matchup good? Probably. Yeah, Gholdengo 260 HP, a little bit fragile as well. Also Chien-Pao, Arceus. I think Arceus with Giratina just eats up Gholdengo in that sense. If you are able to, of course, be the aggressor, you might have some judge going around, so the deck breaks a little bit more. So who knows? We'll have to figure out where Gholdengo ranks currently. But these, like, everything above tier, are actually tier B and above is actually pretty damn good in my opinion. Then also Bennett with the Salvatore being able to have turn 1 item lock going second. Does sound scary, but I haven't seen any Japanese player out there perfecting a list like this. So for now, I'll be putting it at tier C, but I think Bennett can definitely be unlocked with that Salvatore supporter card, having turn 1 item lock, also being able to have maximum belt for more damage output with item lock, or just having 100 additional HP without being able to get lost vacuumed does sound pretty good. You must also think, why is Lugia and Arceus like better post-rotation? Well, that's where the Mist Energy comes into effect, where you prevent all effects from your opponent's Pokemon done to the Pokemon this card is attached to, meaning Frenzied Gouging, forget about it, and Star Requiem, forget about it. So Mist Energy helping out Arceus as well as the Lugia deck out there. So there is that. Okay, talking a little bit further, like Pure Gardevoir with Screamtail. There are a couple of them around here. You do see 3.1% Guardy, and then here they are categorized as other. Guardy they put at tier B, or actually tier 3 I would say. I don't know where I'd be putting Pure Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir always has to like be a mixture with like some additional attackers. There's Gardevoir Raging Bolt. Maybe that can belong in like tier C for now. I don't know. I'm still doubting with that in a little bit of sense. There's if we take a look at like this, this is the chart that Omni, yeah, Omnipoke, Joe from Omnipoke actually made, and they were actually putting Gardevoir into tier C, and then the Gardevoir uses the Ace Pack with 100 additional HP, allowing it to do some crazy stuff with stuff like Drifloon or Screamtail out there. The Future Box also not performing all that well, and there are some things to say about the other decks in the format, but yeah, Raging Bull with Sandy Shocks, also Gholdengo tier B, as I think I actually posted down right there. So moving forward, Snorlax block. How do you feel about Snorlax block in the format currently, with everything attacking in the one prize Roaring Moon deck, with Arceus VSTAR out there? Chien-Pao could still have some troubles. I never put like Snorlax below tier C, because Snorlax can always surprise people, I would say. So let's put that in tier C for now. Roaring Moon EX, I'll put that in tier A. I still think it's a strong deck out there, and you now can rely on Iron Leaves to, of course, have a little bit better shot against beating Charizard, and doesn't lose all that much. The VIP passes become Nuzball, etc. Anti-Iron Valiant is a tier C currently, because of the fact that it does lose Medicham, it does lose yeah, the escape ropes right there, so that's not good anymore. Lost Boxes, I'll put that in the high end of tier B, and there is also Giratina VSTAR with the Comfey. This actually, I don't know if I'll be putting it in tier D, but it's definitely lost a lot of its appeal because Path is gone. You can still have Roxanne, but it's not that powerful anymore, so on the high end of tier C, I suppose. And then Miraidon Regieleki, is that even performing all that well? I'll be putting it in tier C as well. So for now, if we take a look at all the decks we just put down in the tier rank shenanigans, I think Charizard WB Barrel is tier S. If we take a look at the Japanese results, there's no way around that. It is doing very, very well. Then Chien-Pao, Arceus, Giratina, then Charizard with Pidgeot, and the Roaring Moon versions, whether it's the big EX with Sada or just the one prize box, are all tier A decks. Tier B, Goldango, Lugia, Great Tusk, Gardevoir, and Lost Box. Tier C has Giratina VSTAR with Comfey, Snorlax, Banette, the Future Box, Raging Bolt, Sandy Shocks, Miraidon, Dialga, and then tier D is like Gardevoir, I would say, Entei, and Torterra. For now, this is my current tier list prediction for EUIC, for Temporal Forces, so I'll be focusing and putting all my attention on Charizard, Chien-Pao, one prize Ancient Box, Arceus, Giratina, and the big Roaring Moon. Also, Lost Boxes will still be good. Goldango and Lugia, maybe a little bit of Great Tusk. All the rest I wouldn't touch currently. So these are like the decks that you have to prepare for. If you want deck lists for all of these, there will be a link down below with a video talking about deck lists for all of these decks. So definitely check that video out if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. Helps out in ridiculous ways to help support the channel. And also go check out our sponsors, of course, which make all these videos possible. There is DragonShield.com, 5% off with the link down below, or clicking Zapdos5 in the coupon box right there. There's Zapdos TCG 10YP, or clicking the link down below to get custom play match shipped to your door. They ship worldwide. Definitely check it out. PokemonStore.com to get TCG Live code cards. Whether you're looking for promos or the latest booster packs in town for your TCG Live account, they have it. Use coupon ZapdosTCG. And then cardmarket.com to help support the channel even further using the referral name ZapdosTCG. So thank you all for watching. I'm very excited to be playing with Temporal Forces cards, and Chien-Pao is going to be tier 1, so that's going to be the first deck I'll be taking a look at. But this format looks pretty interesting. I wonder how it will shape and shift here and there. I think Control also gains a lot of new cards. If we are taking a look at what other new cards they get, the card that allow you to not get Frenzied Gouging, so maybe we can see like a very bulky deck out there that allows you to heal time and time again. There is great ace pack cards available as mentioned. There is of course the Explorer's Guidance, which helps out the one prize Ancient Box. There's also this cool card with the Cryptomaniac Deciphering, allowing you to put 2 cards on the top of the deck. You can draw this on with Radiant Greninja, so also very good against a deck like Chien-Pao. There's Raging Bolt, whether you're looking Sandy Shocks or maybe Gardevoir to make a deck with that. That's going to be pretty interesting for sure, and I'm very, very excited to see if anyone can make the Future Box work. Walking Way could be an addition to the Roaring Moon EX deck that already plays Water type energies as a Pokemon that is weak to Lightning instead of being weak to Grass. So, and the Iron Leaves as a great tech card, slapping it down on the bench, absorbing energies and flying to the active position to eat up Charizard EXs. So yeah, thanks for watching today's upload. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some brand new Pokemon TCG content, and with that, I'll see you all later. Peace.